The vast Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Marcus Reeves entered, flanked by two standard Earth military personnel in simple gray uniforms. The alien representatives, hundreds of species representing thousands of worlds, shifted uncomfortably. Some whispered behind translucent appendages. Others made gestures of warding. "The humans have arrived," announced High Arbiter Vox, a towering being of crystalline structure.
"Step forward, Earthlings." Marcus approached the central platform, his footsteps echoing.
The chamber's architecture, a massive dome with orbiting observation platforms, was designed to intimidate. Holographic displays showed Earth's recent military engagements against the Krull incursion force. The footage showed standard human soldiers, not their elite. Units decimating what had been considered an unstoppable armada. "You stand accused of deliberate deception regarding your species' military capabilities," the Arbiter's voice boomed. "Explain how your regular forces destroyed the 7th Fleet of the Krull Dominion." Marcus smiled thinly. "We withheld nothing in our admission documents. You simply failed to ask the right questions." A Tauran representative slammed a hooved appendage. "Impossible. Those were merely your standard troops, not specialized warriors." "Correct," Marcus replied, his calm demeanor unnerving the council. "Those were indeed our regular forces." The implications rippled through the chamber like a shockwave. If these were Earth's standard soldiers, what were their special forces capable of? The Arbiter's crystalline form pulsed with angry light. "Then we demand demonstration of your true capabilities. The Council requires proof of these special forces you keep hidden." Marcus shook his head. "With respect, Arbiter, no. You don't want that. Nobody wants that." The chamber erupted in angry shouts and demands. Marcus stood unmoving at the center of the storm. 3 hours later, Marcus sat in a small anteroom adjacent to the main chamber. The door slid open, revealing a slender, blue-skinned alien with 4 large eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. "I am Talari," the alien said, bowing slightly. "I have been assigned as your liaison during this investigation." "You mean during my detention?" Marcus replied. Talari's upper eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of discomfort. "The Council prefers to call it protective custody." "Of course they do." "If I may speak freely, Ambassador," Talari said, lowering his voice. "Many of us are fascinated by humans. Your species has accomplished in decades what took others centuries." Before Marcus could respond, his communication device beeped. He checked the message and his expression darkened. "Problem?" Talari asked. "The Council has dispatched investigators to Earth without permission." Talari looked away. "Yes, led by Inspector Drav of the Krull Dominion." Marcus stood up. "The same Krull whose fleet attacked our colonies, whose ships we destroyed in self-defense, and now they're sending them to inspect Earth? The Council believes this provides necessary perspective." "It provides necessary bias," Marcus corrected. He tapped his communication device. "Commander Drake, are you receiving this?" A woman's voice responded. "Loud and clear, Ambassador. The inspection team entered orbit 10 minutes ago. We're rolling out the welcome mat as instructed. Be careful, Eliza, they're looking for an excuse." "Understood. Drake out." Marcus turned to Talari. "Take me back to the Council. Now." Commander Eliza Drake watched the shuttle descend toward Earth's primary diplomatic spaceport outside Geneva. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight bun, her uniform impeccable. At 42, Drake had served in Earth's defense forces for over 20 years, rising to command the Diplomatic Security Division. "Status?" she asked the officer beside her. Lieutenant Hayes checked his tablet. 5 aliens aboard. The leader is Krull, as expected. The others are from Centauri Prime, Taurus Athuri, Proxima, and... Interesting. A Void Walker. Drake raised an eyebrow. A Void Walker? They rarely leave their nebula. The Council is taking this seriously. The shuttle landed with a soft hiss. Drake straightened her uniform and stepped forward as the ramp extended. The first figure to emerge stood nearly 8 feet tall, with dark red scaled skin and multiple rows of bony ridges where a human would have hair. Inspector Drav of the Krull Dominion surveyed the landing area with 6 yellow eyes. "Commander Drake," Drav rumbled, "we expected your military leader." "I am the military leader for diplomatic security," Drake replied evenly. "Welcome to Earth." The other 4 aliens descended the ramp. The Void Walker floated rather than walked, a swirling mass of dark energy roughly shaped like a hooded figure. "We require immediate access to your military installations," Drav demanded. The Council has ordered full compliance. Drake smiled professionally. Of course. We've prepared a tour of our standard facilities. If you'll follow me. Standard facilities. Drav's scales darkened in what Drake recognized as anger. We demand to see your Special Forces training grounds. All in good time, Inspector. Protocol dictates we begin with the standard tour. As they walked toward the transport vehicle, Drake's communication device vibrated. She glanced down to see a message. Umbra watching, proceed as planned. Drake allowed herself a small smile. Operator 6 was already monitoring the situation. Whatever game the Council was playing, Earth was prepared. Back in the Council chamber, Marcus stood before the Arbiter once more. This inspection violates at least 6 provisions of the Treaty of Proxima, Marcus argued. Earth has the right to refuse military inspection by potentially hostile forces. High Arbiter Vox leaned forward.
The Krall are not hostile.
They merely wish to understand how your regular forces defeated their elite warriors. After they attacked our colonies, Marcus countered. A representative from Sirius 4, a being of pure light contained within an environmental suit, spoke up. Perhaps we should consider the human's objection. Sending the defeated party to inspect the victor does suggest bias. The Arbiter waved a crystalline hand dismissively. The inspection proceeds. Until we understand the true nature of Earth's military capabilities, your status in the galactic community remains provisional. Marcus narrowed his eyes. And if we refuse? Then Earth will be considered in violation of transparency protocols and subject to isolation sanctions. Marcus knew what that meant. Earth's fledgling colonies would be cut off. Trade would cease. Humanity would be alone again in the darkness. Very well, Marcus said finally. But remember, Arbiter, you demanded this demonstration. As he turned to leave, Marcus missed the worried look that passed between several council members. They had expected him to keep fighting. His acquiescence was somehow more troubling than his resistance. Something was coming, and the Galactic Council had just invited it through the front door. The Earth orbital station Aurora Prime rotated majestically against the backdrop of the blue planet. Inspector Drav pressed his scaled face against the viewport as their shuttle approached the massive structure. Primitive, he muttered, though his yellow eyes betrayed his fascination. Talari, who had joined the inspection team as the Council's official observer, disagreed. Their station design is actually quite elegant. Notice how they use rotation for artificial gravity rather than field generators. Simple but effective. Drav turned away with a snort. I did not come to admire human engineering. The shuttle docked with a gentle thud. Commander Drake waited for them at the airlock, flanked by 4 human soldiers in standard gray uniforms. Welcome to Aurora Prime, Drake said. Today's tour includes our orbital training facilities, followed by a visit to our lunar base. The Voidwalker member of the inspection team floated forward, its voice a whisper that somehow carried to every ear. We wish to see combat demonstrations. Not empty rooms, Drake nodded. Of course. We have scheduled a standard training exercise for your observation. She led them through gleaming corridors to a large observation deck overlooking a massive chamber. Below, 30 human soldiers in training gear were assembled. These are cadets, Drake explained. First-year trainees in our standard military program. Drav's scales flushed dark with anger. You insult us by showing beginners? I thought it best to start with the basics, Drake replied calmly. She pressed a button on a control panel. The chamber below transformed as holographic projections created a battlefield environment, a ruined city under alien skies. Drone combatants emerged from hidden compartments, each one designed to mimic a different species' fighting style. Begin exercise, Drake commanded. The human trainees moved with precision and coordination that made even Drav fall silent. They communicated with hand signals and split into tactical units without speaking. When the drones attacked, the humans responded with seemingly uncanny anticipation. Impossible, whispered the Proximan inspector, a tall being with pale skin and elongated limbs. Those are truly beginners? Their reaction time exceeds mature Proximan standards. Drake merely nodded. The exercise continued for 20 minutes. The human cadets suffered only 3 casualties, while eliminating 65 combat drones, including several modeled after Krall elite warriors. When it ended, Drav turned to Drake with all 6 eyes narrowed to slits. These cannot be regular forces. You are hiding your true capabilities. Drake's expression remained neutral. These are first-year cadets, Inspector. I would be happy to show you our graduated soldiers next. Deep beneath Earth's North Polar ice cap, in a facility that didn't officially exist, a figure watched multiple holographic displays showing the inspection team's every move. Known only as Operator 6, he was a man of average height with no particularly distinctive features, which was precisely what made him exceptional in his line of work. A woman entered the monitoring room, her footsteps silent despite the metal floor. "They're pushing for access to the Olympus facility," she said. 6 nodded without turning. "As expected. The Krall want revenge, not information. Ambassador Reeves is still being held by the Council. Intelligence suggests they won't release him until the inspection is complete." 6 finally turned. His eyes were an unusual shade of gray, almost silver in the dim light of the monitoring station. "And the real plan? The one the Council isn't admitting to?" The woman handed him a data pad. "We intercepted communications between Inspector Drav and a Krall battle group, hiding in the shadow of Neptune. They're planning an incident at the lunar colony." 6 reviewed the information and nodded. "Classic. Force us to reveal our capabilities by threatening civilians." He stood. "Activate Protocol Whisper. I want our people shadowing the inspection team without being seen." "And Lieutenant, sir? Prepare my shuttle. If this goes the way I think it will, I'll need to be on the moon." On the Galactic Council station, Marcus Reeves paced his quarters. Though luxuriously appointed, it was still a prison. The door slid open, revealing Talari. "Ambassador," Talari said, slipping inside. "I have news from Earth." Marcus gestured for him to continue. "The inspection progresses, but tensions are high. Inspector Drav seems determined to provoke an incident." "Of course he is," Marcus said. "The Krall lost face when our regular forces defeated their elite warriors. This is about restoring their honor." Talari's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of serious concern. "There's more. I've discovered communications suggesting a Krall battle group has entered your solar system." Marcus stopped pacing. "Where?" "Hiding near your outermost planet." "Neptune," Marcus supplied. "How many ships?" 3 heavy cruisers and support vessels." Marcus closed his eyes briefly. "Enough to overwhelm our lunar defenses if they strike quickly." He fixed Talari with a penetrating stare. "Why are you telling me this? You're a Council observer." Talari's skin flushed a deeper blue. "I believe in justice, Ambassador. What the Krall are planning violates everything the Council stands for." "Does the Arbiter know?" "I suspect he does," Talari admitted. "There are factions within the Council who fear Earth's potential. They would prefer to contain your species now, rather than face you as equals later." Marcus moved to the communication panel, but it remained locked. "I need to warn Earth. I can carry a message," Talari offered. Marcus hesitated only briefly before writing something on a small piece of paper. Technology so old most aliens wouldn't think to monitor it. He folded it and handed it to Talari. "Get this to Commander Drake, no one else." Talari concealed the paper in a fold of his robes. "I will return to the inspection team at once." After Talari left, Marcus sat down heavily. He had just committed to trusting an alien he barely knew with Earth security, but his options were limited. If the Krall attacked the lunar colony, Earth would have no choice but to respond with full force. And once the galaxy saw what human special forces were truly capable of, everything would change. Commander Drake led the inspection team through the new Armstrong lunar settlement. The colony, home to 10,000 humans, was a marvel of engineering, a network of domes and underground facilities that had transformed the barren, lunar surface into a thriving community. "Your people adapt well to hostile environments," noted the Centaurian inspector, genuine admiration in her melodious voice. "We evolved on a death world," Drake replied. "Adaptation is in our DNA." Drav, who had grown increasingly agitated throughout the tour, suddenly stopped. "Enough of these civilian showcases. Take us to your military installation now." Drake checked the time. "The Lunar Defense Facility tour is scheduled for tomorrow morning." "Today Now," Drav demanded, his massive frame looming over Drake. "Or I will report your non-compliance to the Council." Drake appeared to consider this, then nodded. "Very well. This way, please." As the group turned toward the military sector, Drake's communication device vibrated. She glanced down to see a message that made her blood run cold. "Krall ships approaching. ETA 30 minutes. Protocol Umbra authorized." Drake's expression didn't change, but her mind raced. Protocol Umbra meant Earth Command had detected a genuine threat and authorized Special Forces deployment. The game had changed. And somewhere in the darkness of space, humanity's most elite soldiers were already moving into position. The lunar defense facility was a stark contrast to the civilian settlement. All function, no comfort. As Drake led the inspection team through reinforced corridors, alarms suddenly blared throughout the complex. "What is happening?" demanded Drav, his scaled hand moving suspiciously close to what Drake suspected was a concealed weapon. Drake touched her communication device. "Drake here, report." The response came through the facility's speakers. "Commander, we have detected 3 Kral warships approaching lunar orbit. They are not responding to hails and have weapons charged." Drav's scales flushed with color patterns that Drake's translator didn't catch. Likely Kral military code. The game was up. "This is most unfortunate," Drav said, his voice dripping with false concern. "It appears some of my overzealous comrades have taken matters into their own hands." "Indeed," Drake replied coldly. "How convenient that you're here to witness it." The Voidwalker inspector drifted forward, its dark energy form pulsing with what might have been anger. "This violates Council protocol. The inspection was to be peaceful." "Peace was never the Kral objective," Talari interjected, his 4 eyes focused on Drav. "I've informed Ambassador Reeves of this plot." Drav snarled, revealing rows of sharp teeth. "You exceed your authority, observer." Drake touched her communication device again. "Activate lunar defense grid. And get me Earth Command." A holographic screen appeared before her, showing a grim-faced general. "Commander Drake, we're tracking the situation. Regular forces are responding, but they'll be outgunned. You need to evacuate the civilian population to the emergency shelters." "And the inspection team?" Drake asked pointedly. The general's eyes flicked to the aliens before returning to Drake. "Keep them with you. They wanted to see our military capabilities. They're about to get their wish." The connection ended. Drake turned to the stunned inspection team. "This way to the command center. You'll have the best view of events from there." In the cold darkness of space between Earth and its moon, 3 Kral warships approached with deadly intent. Their sleek, predatory designs reflected their creator's nature, built for swift, devastating attacks rather than prolonged engagements. Inside the lead vessel, the Kral commander surveyed the tactical display with satisfaction. "The humans have only 2 defense platforms in range. Their patrol ships are on the far side of their world. By the time they respond, we will have made our point." His second-in-command indicated a new reading. "Commander, the humans have activated their defense grid. As expected. Their technology is no match for our shields. Prepare to fire on the largest dome. We will puncture it just enough to cause panic, then withdraw. Atmospheric loss will kill hundreds." The second noted without emotion. "That is the point. The humans must learn their place in the galactic order." The tactical officer suddenly straightened. "Commander, detecting small objects launching from the lunar surface. They're defensive missiles? Intercept them. They're not missiles, sir. They're too small and they're changing course too rapidly for automated systems." The commander leaned forward, his scales darkening with concern. "Show me." The view screen displayed 6 small objects moving with impossible speed and maneuverability. They were heading directly for the Kral ships. "Magnify," ordered the commander. The image zoomed in to reveal what appeared to be humans in some kind of advanced spacesuits. No propulsion systems were visible, yet they moved with precision that defied physics. "Impossible," whispered the commander. "No living being can survive maneuvering at those speeds." Before anyone could respond, the ship rocked violently. "We're under attack," shouted the tactical officer. "Hull breach in Section 4. "From what?" "Those humans can't possibly." Another violent shudder ran through the ship. "They're cutting through our hull with some kind of energy weapons," reported the second. "Security teams are responding, but..." The ship's interior lights flickered and died, replaced by dim emergency lighting. "They're inside," said the commander, drawing his weapon. "All warriors prepare for boarding action." In the Lunar Command Center, Drake and the inspection team watched the unfolding battle on massive holographic displays. The Kral ships had stopped advancing and now floated motionless. "What are we seeing?" asked the Centaurian inspector, her voice barely above a whisper. Drake's expression remained professionally neutral. "First response from our special forces. Drav slammed his fist against a console. Lies, no living beings could traverse open space like that. Perhaps not where you come from, Drake replied. On the displays they could see the Kral ship's external lights flickering. Communications chatter from the vessels, automatically translated, filled the command center. Voices shouting in panic. Reports of intruders moving too fast to track. Weapons having no effect. This is not possible, Drav insisted, though his voice had lost its certainty. Talari moved closer to Drake. Those are truly your special forces, but they appear to be individual soldiers. They are, Drake confirmed, 6 operators. Our best. The Voidwalker drifted to the main display, its dark energy form rippling with what might have been awe. Your species evolved on a death world. We knew this, but we did not understand what it meant. On the largest screen they watched as one of the Kral ships began to drift, its engines dark. The second ship suddenly accelerated, trying to escape, only to go dark moments later. The third managed to fire several shots toward the lunar colony before it too fell silent. All 3 Kral vessels neutralized, reported a lunar officer. Minimal damage to their life support systems. They're disabled, not destroyed. Drake nodded. As ordered, Drav's scales had paled to an ashen color. What are these beings you call special forces? Drake finally allowed herself a small smile. Just humans, Inspector. Humans who volunteered for certain enhancements. Aboard the lead Kral vessel, the commander fired his plasma rifle down the darkened corridor, illuminating the space with brief flashes of deadly energy. His remaining warriors did the same, creating a barrage that should have vaporized anything approaching. Hold position, he ordered. Nothing could survive that volley. As the energy discharges faded, the corridor returned to darkness. Then, a voice spoke from directly behind the commander. You're right about one thing, said a calm human voice. Nothing from your world could have survived that. The commander whirled, but too late. The last thing he saw was a figure in a form-fitting black suit, face concealed behind a sleek helmet. Then darkness. Operator 6 stood among the unconscious Kral warriors, his suit systems already adapting to the ship's atmosphere and gravity. He touched the side of his helmet. 6 to team. Primary vessel secured. Command deck under control. The responses came in quick succession as the other 5 operators reported similar successes on the remaining ships. 6. Moved to the command console and accessed the ship's communication system. This is Earth Special Forces Operator 6 to Lunar Command. Kral vessel secured. Crews incapacitated with non-lethal methods as ordered, awaiting further instructions. In the Lunar Command Center, Drake allowed the message to play openly, watching the inspection team's reactions. Drav had collapsed into a chair, his warrior's composure shattered. The other inspectors stared at the screens in various states of shock. Only Talari seemed more fascinated than frightened. How many of these operators does Earth possess? He asked quietly. Drake looked him directly in the eyes. That information is classified. But I will tell you this, the 6 you just saw are not our most elite unit. They are our instructors. The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. The Galactic Council had demanded to see Earth's true military capabilities. They were about to get exactly what they asked for, and it would change the balance of power across the galaxy forever. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with agitated voices. Representatives from hundreds of worlds argued heatedly as footage of the lunar incident played on massive holographic displays. The Kral delegation was notably absent. High Arbiter Vox slammed his crystalline appendage against the podium, sending shimmering sound waves through the chamber. Order! The council will have order! The noise subsided reluctantly. At the center of the chamber stood Ambassador Marcus Reeves, no longer a detainee but still the focus of uncomfortable attention. Ambassador, the Arbiter's voice resonated through the vast space. We have reviewed the evidence of the lunar incident. The council condemns the unauthorized Kral military action. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly. However, continued Vox, the response by Earth's forces raises concerning questions. The capabilities demonstrated by your special forces far exceed anything disclosed in your admission documents. Marcus stepped forward. With respect, Arbiter, our document stated clearly that Earth evolved as a Class 12 death world. The implications should have been obvious to your xenobiologists. A representative from Midas Prime, a being composed of living metal, spoke up. No one disputes Earth's classification. What concerns us is the extent of your military enhancement programs. These were not natural humans we observed. Actually, Marcus countered, they were. Enhanced, yes, but still fundamentally human. The operators who neutralized. The Krull ships volunteered for physiological modifications that simply unlock capabilities already latent in human genetics. The chamber erupted again until the Arbiter restored. Order. Explain, demanded Vox. Marcus gestured, and a new hologram appeared. A DNA strand that slowly rotated in the center of the chamber. Human evolution on Earth required adaptation to extreme environmental pressures. Our ancestors developed numerous survival traits that modern humans still carry in their genetic code, though most lie dormant. Our enhancement program simply activates these dormant genes. The Voidwalker representative drifted forward, its dark energy form pulsing with interest. The operators we witnessed moving through space without protective suits activated genes for enhanced oxygen processing, radiation resistance, and pressure adaptation, Marcus explained. Combined with minimal supportive technology. And their speed? Their strength? Similar principles. Humans naturally possess greater physical potential than we typically access. Our enhancement process removes the biological limiters. The Sirius representative's light form brightened with alarm. You speak of these modifications casually, Ambassador. Yet you create super soldiers with capabilities that threaten the stability of the galaxy. Marcus shook his head. Not super soldiers, specialists, and Earth has fewer than 200 active operators. This revelation sent another shockwave through the chamber. Not because the number was large, but because it was so small. 200? Repeated the Arbiter. You expect us to believe that Earth's defensive strategy relies on only 200 enhanced individuals? Our defensive strategy relies primarily on our regular forces, Marcus corrected. The operators are reserved for specific missions where conventional forces would be insufficient or would result in unacceptable casualties. The Arbiter leaned forward, his crystalline form refracting light in patterns that suggested deep concern. And these operators? What prevents Earth from producing thousands? Millions? Ethics, Marcus replied simply. The enhancement process is demanding and dangerous. We only accept volunteers who pass extensive psychological evaluations, and our governing principles strictly limit their use to defensive operations. While the Council deliberated, Operator 6 stood in a secure communication room aboard the Galactic station. The holographic image of Commander Drake flickered before him. The Council is splitting into factions, 6 reported. Some want immediate sanctions against Earth. Others are pushing for technology exchange agreements. Drake nodded. And the Krull? Officially censured for the attack. Unofficially, their influence has collapsed. No one wants to align with them after such a humiliating defeat. What about the crews of their ships? 6's expression remained neutral. Recovering. The memory suppression worked as designed. They recall a systems failure, nothing more. Drake leaned closer to the camera. And our friend Talari? Currently briefing the Arbiter privately. He's become an unexpected ally. Can we trust him? 6 considered this. I believe so. His species values knowledge above power. He sees humans as the most interesting puzzle in the galaxy. Drake's image flickered as she checked something off-screen. The Council has requested a formal demonstration of our capabilities. Earth Command is debating how to respond. A demonstration would reveal too much, 6 argued. Better to maintain some mystery. Agreed. But refusing outright would feed their fears. Drake sighed. How's Marcus holding up? Like the diplomat he is. Revealing enough to satisfy without giving away anything critical. Good, keep me updated. Drake out. The hologram vanished, leaving 6 alone. He removed his helmet, revealing a face that was remarkably ordinary, which was precisely what made him exceptional in his line of work. The ability to blend in, to be forgotten even while being observed, was as valuable as his enhanced physical capabilities. His communication device signaled an incoming message. Council chamber. Immediately. When 6 arrived at the Council chamber, he found Marcus standing calmly before a panel of the most influential representatives. The Arbiter acknowledged 6 with a nod. Operator 6, we have requested your presence to answer technical questions about Earth's enhancement protocols. 6 stepped forward. I will answer what I can within security parameters. A Proximan representative spoke first. These enhancements, are they permanent? Yes, 6 confirmed. And the side effects? Surely manipulating your biology so extensively has consequences. 6's expression remained neutral. Enhanced metabolism requires specialized nutrition. Our nervous systems process sensory input at accelerated rates, which can be overwhelming in civilian environments. Some of us experience difficulty relating to unenhanced humans. The Centaurian representative leaned forward. Are you dangerous to others when not on mission? No more than any trained soldier, 6 replied. Possibly less. Our selection and training emphasize control and restraint above all else. The Void Walker drifted closer. We observed you neutralizing Krull warriors without killing them. Was this by choice or limitation? By order, 6 corrected. We could have eliminated them completely. We chose not to. This statement, delivered without bravado, sent a chill through the chamber. The Arbiter studied 6 with glowing crystalline eyes. What does Earth want, Operator? Not just Ambassador Reeves's diplomatic position, but the truth. What does your species seek from the galactic community? 6 glanced at Marcus, who nodded slightly. The same as any sentient species, 6 answered. Security, prosperity, knowledge. We don't seek dominance. Earth was isolated for most of its history. We've had enough of being alone. The sincerity in his voice seemed to affect several representatives. The Arbiter's crystalline form shifted to a slightly warmer hue. Yet you developed these capabilities that so clearly provide military advantage. Because the galaxy is not always a peaceful place, 6 responded. The Krull attack proved that. We prepare for the worst while hoping for better. The Arbiter considered this, then made a gesture that caused the chamber's lighting to change. The Council will deliberate privately. Ambassador Reeves, Operator 6, please await our decision. As they left the chamber, Marcus spoke quietly to 6. That went better than expected. Did it? 6 asked. They're still afraid. Fear can be useful if it leads to respect, Marcus replied. And respect is the foundation of any lasting peace. 6 wasn't convinced, but he kept his doubts to himself. In his experience, fear more often led to preemptive action. And if the Galactic Council decided that humanity was too dangerous to exist freely among the stars, Earth would face a threat beyond even what its special forces could handle. The next few hours would determine whether humanity had found its place in the galaxy or made itself a target. The Council's deliberation lasted 18 hours. During that time, Marcus and 6 remained in a diplomatic waiting area, joined occasionally by Talari, who brought updates and refreshments. The debate is intense, Talari reported during his 3rd visit. Some factions want Earth quarantined. Others see potential in alliance. And the Arbiter's position? Marcus asked. Talari's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. Cautious. He fears the precedent of allowing a Death World species full membership, yet recognizes the greater danger in making humanity an enemy. 6, who had been silent, finally spoke. They should be more concerned with the species that don't announce their capabilities. Talari turned to him, intrigued. You believe others hide their true nature from the Council? It would be naive to think otherwise, 6 replied. Humanity is direct, sometimes to a fault. We show our strength openly. Others prefer subtlety. Before Talari could respond, the chamber doors opened. A council attendant beckoned them inside. The mood in the chamber had changed. The frantic energy was gone, replaced by a solemn gravity. The Arbiter stood at the center, his crystalline form glowing with internal light. Ambassador Reeves, Operator 6, the Council has reached its decision regarding Earth's status in the galactic community. Marcus stepped forward, his face composed though 6 could detect his elevated heart rate. Earth has demonstrated capabilities beyond what was initially understood, the Arbiter continued. This has caused considerable concern among member worlds. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly. However, the Arbiter raised a crystalline appendage for silence. The Council also recognizes that Earth acted in defense against unprovoked aggression. Furthermore, the restraint shown, neutralizing rather than destroying the attacking vessels, speaks to a level of discipline we had not anticipated. The chamber remained silent, waiting. Therefore, the Council has decided to grant Earth provisional full membership status. With the following conditions, a holographic document appeared before Marcus. First, Earth will accept a permanent diplomatic liaison on your world. Someone who understands your unique nature and can facilitate communication. Talari stepped forward. I have volunteered for this position if Earth will have me. Marcus nodded his acceptance. Second, continued the Arbiter, Earth will provide limited training exchange programs with Council security forces, not to replicate your enhancement protocols, but to share tactical and strategic approaches. Marcus glanced at Six, who gave an almost imperceptible nod. And third, Earth must commit to transparency regarding any significant advancements in your military capabilities going forward. These terms are acceptable, Marcus said. With one addition of our own, the Council must acknowledge Earth's sovereign right to self-defense and the defense of its colonies without interference. The Arbiter's form dimmed, slightly, a sign of reluctance, but he eventually nodded. Agreed. The document updated itself, and Marcus pressed his palm against it, sealing the agreement. Throughout the chamber, representatives began to relax visibly. Crisis averted. A new balance established, but Six remained alert. Experience had taught him that moments of apparent resolution often concealed new dangers. 3 days later, the Earth delegation prepared to depart the Council station. Their shuttle waited in the docking bay as Marcus concluded final discussions with various representatives. Six stood slightly apart, observing the proceedings when he noticed Talari approaching. Operator, Talari greeted him. I look forward to learning more about Earth. Six nodded politely. You'll find it both better and worse than reports suggest. Talari's upper eyes blinked with amusement. Most worlds are. He lowered his voice. There is something you should know. The Kral delegation has been replaced. Their failure has cost them significant influence. Politics is beyond my jurisdiction, Six replied. Perhaps, but the new Kral ambassador arrives today. He is known for holding grudges. Six absorbed this information without visible reaction. Thank you for the warning. Talari hesitated, then added, there is also discussion of creating a new council position, a director of security assessment. Many have suggested you for the role. This did surprise Six. Me? I'm a field operator, not a politician. Precisely why many support your nomination. You understand capabilities rather than intentions. In a galaxy of diverse species, understanding what others can do is often more important than understanding what they want. Before Six could respond, the docking bay doors opened, admitting a new group of aliens. At their center walked a Kral, taller and more heavily scaled than Drav had been. His yellow eyes scanned the bay until they locked onto Six. The new Kral ambassador, Tolari whispered unnecessarily. Six recognized the look in those alien eyes. Hatred, vengeance. The Kral might have lost the battle, but they were not finished with Earth. Marcus approached, having concluded his discussions. Ready to go home? Six nodded, but his attention remained on the Kral ambassador, who was now conversing with the Arbiter while continuing to cast glances toward the Earth delegation. We should expect continued challenges, Six said quietly. Marcus followed his gaze and sighed. The price of joining the galactic community. Better to face their plots here than isolation back on Earth. Agreed, but we should prepare contingencies. Marcus smiled thinly. Already in progress. Commander Drake is restructuring our defensive protocols based on what we've learned here. They boarded the shuttle, Talari accompanying them for his new assignment on Earth. As the vessel detached from the station, Six watched the stars emerge in the viewport. Somewhere out there, humanity's future was taking shape. A future where Earth would no longer be just another world seeking admission to the galactic table. It would be a force that shaped the galaxy itself. 1 month later, the Galactic Council convened a special session. Representatives from over 500 worlds attended, an unusually high number that reflected the importance of the agenda. The Arbiter called the session to order. Today we witness a historic moment. For the first time, Earth will demonstrate aspects of its defensive capabilities in a controlled environment. A massive holographic arena appeared in the center of the chamber. Within it stood a single human figure, wearing a simple gray uniform with no visible weapons or equipment. This was not Operator 6 or any of the enhanced special forces, but rather a standard Earth soldier, Captain Thomas Reed of Earth's regular military. Surrounding him in the arena were combat drones modeled after the elite warriors of 50 different species, including Kral shock troops, Proxymen blade dancers, and even a Voidwalker combat form. The new Kral ambassador leaned forward eagerly, A single unenhanced human against 50 elite combat units. This demonstration will end quickly. Talari, now officially Earth's liaison, smiled slightly. I suggest you watch carefully, Ambassador. You might learn something important about humans. The Arbiter raised his crystalline appendage. Begin the demonstration. What followed left the chamber in stunned silence. The human soldier moved with a fluid efficiency that seemed impossible for an unenhanced being. He didn't defeat every opponent, several scored hits that would have been fatal in real combat, but his tactical awareness and adaptability allowed him to neutralize 32 of the 50 drones before finally being overwhelmed. When it ended, the Arbiter turned to Marcus Reeves. This was one of your regular soldiers? Not enhanced? Captain Reed is slightly above average in our regular forces, Marcus confirmed. But yes, completely unenhanced. How is this possible? Demanded the Krull ambassador. No natural being could fight like that. Marcus activated a holographic display showing Earth. This is our homeworld, Class 12 Death World. The gravity is higher than standard. The atmosphere requires efficient oxygen processing. The wildlife evolved to kill with extraordinary efficiency. For most of our history, humans fought not just each other but our entire planet just to survive. The display showed prehistoric humans hunting massive predators, surviving extreme weather, adapting to wildly different environments. Natural selection on Earth was brutal. Marcus continued. Only the strongest, fastest, most adaptable survived. Modern humans are the result of millions of years of evolution in one of the harshest environments in the galaxy. He gestured, and the display changed to show human military training. What you call elite warriors, we call basic training. What you consider exceptional tactical thinking, we teach to cadets. The chamber remained silent as the implications sank in. And your special forces? Asked the Voidwalker representative. If these are your regulars? Marcus smiled diplomatically. Some capabilities are best left to the imagination, don't you think? The message was clear. Earth's regular forces were already exceptional by galactic standards. Their special forces, the enhanced operators like Six, represented a level of capability that few could comprehend and none could match. As the session concluded, representatives departed in thoughtful silence. The new balance of power would take time to adjust to. Some worlds would seek alliance with Earth. Others would plot against this dangerous newcomer, but all now understood one fundamental truth. They feared Earth's regulars, because their special forces were already unstoppable. Demonstration with professional interest. Captain Reed had performed well, though Six noted several tactical choices he would have made differently.